Hey everyone, you're watching Ash on Comics. My name is Ash. Here's today's comic, Prodigy. Oh, there it is. Issue 2. This is by Mark Millar, illustrated by Ralph Albuquerque. Bats, if you're listening, that's how you pronounce Albuquerque. It's like Albuquerque, New Mexico. Alright, so Mark Millar, you guys know him, Kick-Ass, The Kingsman, Wanted, Marvel's Ultimates. He's pretty much a comics super legend. He's got his own company, sold it off to Netflix. Now it's Millar World. There's Netflix. Netflix runs his company, Millar World, which he continues to sort of just run. But they give him tons of capital, and it's pretty much a dream come true if you're a comics creator. I don't think necessarily his comics are as good as they used to be because of this situation, but he's better than Bendis. Let's put it that way. All right, so Ralph Albuquerque, look at these faces. I've not been a fan of this guy's art. I think he gets a little too much credit. This is pretty, but whatever. So here we have an invasion from a parallel Earth. This is Virginia 1 week ago. They're coming here to seize control. Some of the richest, most powerful people on the planet Earth are helping them. I don't know where else to go. There's so many names involved, so many famous names involved. And she's just listening. Look at this face here. Ooh. I just need a friend to talk to and try to get my head around this. General, I don't know what to say. It's not like I don't believe you. It's just generals don't behave like this. I was like, this is a general? I thought this was just some staff member or something at CIA. Like, sorry, generals just don't get all, ooh, I'm so scared. I'm having a real hard time buying this. But it's the world of comics. And in the world of comics, you can be driving down the freeway and right bullet through the head. This guy's dead. Dead men tell no tales. And to which this character ducks down, steps on the gas. I mean, they were driving in a Camaro? Okay, so here's the problem. I was ready. Okay, this is nice to set up for an action scene. You know, he's dead. If you can be anonymously driving in a Camaro down the freeway and still get shot. I mean, to set up an assassination attempt like this, first of all, requires a lot of knowledge of where the target's going to be. Then you've got a movie. This is so impractical. But let's just say that you can pull this off. You have the resources to pull this off. Here we have the Prodigy himself, right? He's going to save the world. I'm like, why is the missile not shooting down this plane right now? Just like the end, like to the story. When you do this, basically the bad guys can kill anyone at any time at their leisure. The good guys have no chance. You can't set up situations like this. Like, I know it's like what's in the comic books, Ash, you just let it happen. Well, yeah, but the problem is now every single time I'm wondering why the bad guys don't kill these two, I'm not given a good explanation. That's annoying. It's just, come on, Mark. But whatever. We'll just have to buy into it. So now she's coming to our hero here, the Prodigy, makes Reed Richards look like a B student. And she's telling him the whole story and stuff, and how that they need to get this artifact. It's always an artifact. So he's like, what's the significance of the Kremlin library? He said there's a scroll with everything we need to know to stop them, an ancient tracing that tells us their entire plan. I know it all sounds crazy, and I also know that you specialize in this kind of shit, and I didn't know where else to go. No, you did the right thing, especially if the world's intelligence services have been compromised. Do you need to see some formal identification? No, I deduce everything from your speech pattern, clothes, body language, posture, Agent Strex. Oh, okay. And then, of course, one of the kind of annoying things about this book is his constant need I don't think it's actually his need. I think it's the writer's need to show off how intelligent he is. Just intelligent people don't, unless you're Neil deGrasse Tyson, don't constantly have to spout out proving how intelligent they are. You're 32, you lost your father as a child, entered the services of your mother's recommendation, and your bruises on your thumb suggest a large collection of vinyl records. You're an accomplished pilot, an expert pilot, accomplished sniper, and enjoy master-level training of at least 3 martial arts, plus a doctorate in medieval history. Byzantine, actually. Either way, you seem like an honest, capable partner for a case like this, and I'm more than happy to be working with you. That's okay. I get it, Mark. This is a good way to like fill in her backstory. You know, it's like it's efficiency level here, like that, and that's one thing I praise Mark about the last book is his efficiency in telling a story. But it just kind of comes off of him like, look at how smart I am. You don't need to do that. Smart people don't do that. They're just super smart. Candace, call ahead and tell Putin's office that we'll be meeting them by midnight. I've got a few calls to make first. He's a Putin lover. Uh-oh. SJW alert. Watch out. You gotta slam Mark Millar. His hero is in league with Putin. Trump, am I right? Am I right? He's got to be a Trump supporter too, then. Castle of Darkness, Belgium. The Brotherhood of the Dragon. What the hell's all this about? Now, this is kind of twisted. So we see these kids, nice satanic imagery here, and there's kids waking up like, what the literal, what? And this kid's like, is this real life? What? I was roofied. And we see these mean-looking soldiers come in. Is this a dream? Unshackling them, and it's like, you're going to be fine. It's okay. The bigger kids telling little kid, and I was like, okay, what's going on here? And then they'll see, and there's like all these heads on the wall. And I'm sorry about the glare here. That's creepy. What the hell's going on? He's crying. And this is some good... Okay, so I was just bagging on Ralph Albuquerque's art. His illustrations aren't what I would call aesthetically pleasing. I don't really like, but his storytelling ability here is good. I mean, you don't even need word balloons. You see the kid's scared, the other kid's reassuring him. You don't even need to read this. And then we've got these guys. Ha 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 ha. We're evil, rich people. You don't even need to read. Look at this sinister, innocent kids. Look at this, sad, crying. What's going on? And here we get so they've been assigned to mamas and papas. Basically one kid to each adult, right? So you look at their hunters, you can kind of guess what's about to happen. It says, now the mamas and papas got a job to do here, and that's protecting our little cubs. If you get to the road, you're free to go. Rules are always respected in this game. How much of a head start should we give them? Well, it's cold and muddy, so they'll not get far. 10 minutes is probably about right. Look at this. That's disturbing. Whenever I see kids being evil, it really is even more disturbing. This is being evil is a learned behavior, right? And I don't know, just seeing kids, it immediately means you have a mother and father teaching this, and it's just wow. For some reason, that's even more evil than they are. Don't look at him. He's just trying to freak you out. Okay, go. And so it's kids running. I see Francis made a long grand dragon. So it seems. So the kids are running, and I can't. You guys are going too fast. Get back. And it's there's a good boy. Keep steady. They're only little orphans. No one's going to miss them. So here's a kid aiming his gun. Look at this. Bang! Headshot. Oh, shit! Daddy's turn now. Shooting kids. This is whole crap bold in a comic book. Murdering kids. Wow. And it's just done in a non-apologetic way. Good shot, Mr. Dashwood. Right through the heart. Little bastard didn't know it hit him. Just the evil I think, is a little overdone. I think it would probably be, in my mind, be a little bit more evil to have them just look like everyday normal people, to kind of hint at the idea that anyone in humanity has this evil potential. You know, it's not just these people that look like devils. But I guess it's a comic trope. Jeez, iPad. What the hell? Sorry about that. But that's just my own personal preference. And so they're marking them where they went down. And he's like, it's my boy's first night. And the hunt's still young. Or I said that backwards. Comic book dyslexia. So meanwhile, Moscow, our hero, the Prodigy, and his lovely young assistant show up and says, can we really just drop in on the president like this? Putin's actually in Belarus on a visit to see President Lukashenko. It's one of the reasons our timing is perfect. What do you mean? We're going to be meeting his chief of staff, and that's much less of a diplomatic catastrophe if all this goes wrong. What are you planning to do? Wait and see, Miss Impatient. So he shows up, and it's like, oh, hey, good to see you, blah, blah, blah. Thanks for helping us redo our nuclear generators, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, oh, yeah, thanks, I'm here. I need to get in your secret archives. And then it's like, what does he say? I'm forget it. We're actually here to break into your secret archives. I'm afraid I need to knock you out for a few moments. I'm doing this with a ball of chi I learned to build from some Chinese masters. I promise it doesn't hurt, and you won't even remember this conversation. Is this some kind of joke? Doink. At this part, I was like, wait a second. I thought he was a genius. I didn't know he had mystical arts, but I guess in comic world, mystic arts exist, so okay. We'll go along. Holy shit. And he's like, falls down, and this collapses, and then like, she's like, are you nuts? I told you this would have been tougher with Putin. That's actually kind of funny. So they're like, oh, look, this way. So at this point, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, literally, what the chief of staff just went down. These guys are just like, oh, okay, let's take him away. Like, what? But it actually, the comic book explains that. Why is everyone so helpful? I paid them all off when we were on our way here. The general could never be bought. But everyone else earns modestly enough. You bribed the entire Kremlin? $500 million for 30 minutes. This better be as important as you said. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah, $500 million. That's a huge bribe. Archives are over here. We're not going to the archives. We're going to the Lost Library of the Moscow Tsars. So here, we've got the famous Geraldo Rivera moment. It's like, I don't know why a library would be sealed off like this. If it's really important, you'd probably have a vault, not just some bricks. But, comic books, whatever. So stay back, break through. Unlike Geraldo, of course, the Prodigy's never wrong. He finds the library, and they're trying to get their thing. And this is all very, like, Tomb Raider movie-ish, kind of reminding me of. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Tomb Raider was okay in concept, just not the execution. But they get to the scroll's been stolen. Not sure how he determines that when it's just an empty shelf. I don't see like special scroll. I don't know, whatever. But he knows. And again, this is expediting the story. And they're like, well, now what the hell are we going to do? According to this, it went missing before the library was sealed off. That means it could be anywhere. We don't have a single lead. So he's like, what are we going to do now? And he's like, 2 seconds. All right, now this is much longer than 2 seconds, but I kind of like what he's doing here. He's accessing his subconscious, essentially to have a conversation with himself. And they're playing, like, well, we should do this, we should do this, blah, 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 blah. And that's just kind of neat, too. It's like putting the pieces of the puzzle. That's kind of neat. And they ultimately decide that what they need to do is follow the original, like where the scroll was created from. Where do they say that here? If we can find the original surface that it came from, we can find the secret scrolls that they were carrying. So that's what they're going to do, is trace the source, or trace it back to the source where the scroll was created. And do we have any idea where to find it? According to the books, it was Himalayan temple in 1732. Blah, blah, blah. All this is kind of convenient, but whatever. Expedites the stories. Sir J, clear every traffic light before here in the airport, please. I believe there's 96 of them. And again, it's like, you don't need to show off that you know. Just leave that last sentence off. Just clear everything, please. That's all you gotta say. That's what smart people say. They don't show off. Oh, by the way, I know that's 96. Whatever. It doesn't ruin the story. It's just me being agitated. Now what? Snow boots, goggles, ice picks, and crampons. You and I are climbing the Himalayas. So meanwhile, in Cape Town, South Africa, we see another one of those ships. Jesus, will you look at that? We're failing our own people, Francis. Thousands of years we've had to prepare, but nothing's getting through without burning to a crisp. And so here we see the Grand Dragon, who's the father of this dude, who's the father of the little boy that we saw earlier. Why did this have to happen when I'm Grand Dragon? Why was I in charge when it all went wrong? Just luck, I suppose. So they're talking about these bombs and blah, 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 blah. And he's like, I'd give anything to see them incinerate human flesh. And it's like, so at this point I was getting a little kind of annoyed too. It's like, okay, Mark, you've established that these guys are just diabolically evil, but you haven't established any motive, right? Like, why are they so diabolically evil? What is driving them? They're just hate for the pure, of hate. Like, that's not. I want to know more about what drives them. That's what makes an interesting villain to me. Not just, I'm bad. Look at me be so bad. We'll get there, Dad. Just maybe not with you in charge. So we've got this guard or police. I don't know. He's bowing in respect, and he puts out his fucking cigar on his forehead. It's just like, come on. Yes, we know you're a bad guy. One more failure, and your eldest child replaces you. Just walk into the car. So yeah, I do not disbelieve that you would kill your own dad. I mean, you're super evil. To be continued. So that's the end of that book. It's a mini-series, so you don't necessarily expect big cliffhanger endings or anything like that. It's meant to be read as one big story eventually. So yeah, look, here's some ads in the back. Umbrella Academy on Netflix. Curious to check that out. Mark Millar's got another story coming out here. Sharky the Bounty Hunter. I know nothing about this, but I guess I like Mark Millar. Kick-Ass is. I'm kind of liking that he's turned some of his projects or his properties into ongoing stories. That's really cool. Like ongoing, comics. Because one of the things that's always been bothersome to me about Millar is like, okay, you just make a bunch of miniseries and they're not really related. But now, if you can actually establish this Millar world and turn it into this comic book universe with ongoing comics, and maybe eventually they'll cross over. Well, these two might cross over, but I'd like to see, Prodigy cross over, and that'd be really cool. And here we can see some of the Millar world. And that's it. Well, I enjoyed it. It's not great, but it's fun. It's pretty much what I thought about the last one. I'm going to keep reviewing these. Miniseries are tough because you're only reading chapters of a story rather than individual stories. But tell me what you thought. Tell me if this is interesting to you. And thanks for watching my review.